Coast. It is time for Michelle Medlock Adams. You are watching our bumper, and this is being recorded, streamed to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And Michelle is standing by, our chat room standing by, counting it down to Studio 36 Alpha. Okay, welcome back, or welcome, as the case may be. This is pjnet.tv. I wonder who will be our guest on that screen in just a moment. Maybe, it's Wednesday night, and Michelle Medlock Adams is here. She is the lady in black, okay? Black is the color of the evening, and Michelle, in keeping with that theme, is... I love that mirror behind you, Michelle, because you just closed your laptop. I see what you're doing. Michelle is back from vacation. I did,
yeah. I just closed it. I was in the chat room. I'm like, I guess I can't chat.
No, not right now. I can't either. I glance over there now and then, but it's hard. Last week we enjoyed your stand-in, Shannon. She is always pistol. I mean, what a ball of fire. But you yourself can make similar claims. You and your husband have you were celebrating your anniversary, weren't you? Was that why you came to Florida, or just
30 years of marriage.
30 years continuously to each other?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because
more than that, actually, because we dated since we were like 14. So
a lot of people have been married 30 years, but not continuously to the same person. 30 years. How many dogs have gone?
Oh, lots of dogs. Yeah, I think, let's see, 5 different dachshunds, and then Bella and the dachshund we have now, and 2 children and 5 grandchildren. Well, 4 with 1 on the way. So.
Well, I know that you were in Florida, but normally when I see you and your husband take a little time off in Florida, we get pictures from the bass boat, but not this time.
I know. I can't believe we kept saying, do you want to go, get up early and go down to the pier and fish? And we brought fishing rods, but nobody was up for it. So honestly, the grandkids wore us out. So we just played with them at the beach, and we did we had a great house there with the pool, and we just really enjoyed each other. We didn't even go out. Like, I always like to go shopping and do something, like when it rains. We didn't. We just stayed and we played board games and we watched movies, and it was just a wonderful time with my daughters and their husbands and our grandkids. It was wonderful. I mean, it was exhausting, but so wonderful. So I was just telling you off camera that my daughter Allison, she's about to pop. She's like 35 weeks pregnant, and she's a worker outer. So I really enjoyed Stephanie's talk before mine, because we're really into health. And I've got a health and fitness book out called Love and Care for the One and Only You. And I always have been into fitness. I teach Zumba and was personal training for a while until COVID hit. And so Jeff and I have been working out 4 times a week with a trainer. So when we got down there, we brought weights and like bands, and we would get up and work out. But Allie, she's 9 months pregnant. Like, she's only 5 foot tall, and so she's all belly. She's just from the back, she's pregnant. She said one morning, Mom, you want to go run with me, because Wes is going to watch the baby. And I said, I like to have run. I don't really like to run, but I like to brisk walk, but I'll go with you. And so I just didn't want her to be out there by herself running on a freeway. So I went with her, and I'm not kidding. At 9 months pregnant, she put this girl to shame. I could barely catch her. I was about to throw up, but I finished those 3 miles, Coach. I did not stop. I was like, look, it's embarrassing enough that a 9-month pregnant woman is completely kicking my butt right now. But and my calves hurt for like 3 days after. But it was good. It was good to know I could still run, and because I normally just brisk walk. But that's about the only exercise we got while we were there, other than chasing grandkids. And there was no fishing involved. So Jeff and I'll have to do that later.
Well, there we have good fishing here in Florida, both in the freshwater lakes as well as in the surf. And actually, you can go out of Destin. There's a cliff. It's about an 18-hour charter, but there's a cliff where you can actually catch marlin or fish for marlin, and occasionally catch one. But 18 hours is a long charter, and I know what they used to cost, and they probably doubled that. So that's not on my bucket list right now. But we're glad you came to Florida. We're one of the few states that do not have a personal income tax, and we so depend on suckers. I mean, tourists like you and your family to come down here, and
Yeah.
but a lot of the things that we tax highly, you don't buy. I mean, we tax basically cigarettes and booze. Uh, did you buy a lottery ticket or anything?
Yeah, I
For
can't
us?
help you out there. So
Yeah.
no, I didn't. I bought a couple Polar Pops and a lot of bags of ice.
Yeah, we do have.
We had to have a lot
Now,
of ice, but
do
that's
you
about the
have
only thing I spent money on.
do you have in your state the Circle K thing where for $5.99 a month you can get a drink a day? Do you have that up there?
Yes, we do have that.
Yeah, I do that.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And they do these promotions thinking, well, we'll get people in the store, and they'll buy. No, not me. Nope. Anything
Yeah.
else? Nope.
Mm-mm.
Just the drink. Thank you.
Nope.
Yeah.
Us too. Same
They,
thing.
they
Yeah.
used to have, every sixth drink was free, So I would get they now are, everything's not 79 cents. So they got the 99-cent big drink. The 44 ounce has gone up. So I would,
Mm-hmm.
the 5 that I'm paying for, I'd get the 32 ounce, But on the free one, oh, that's got to be a 44 ounce one. Thank you very much.
It's like the kind that's big enough you could swim in. Yes.
Yeah, I call them bladder busters, and that's about what they are.
Yeah. Accurate name. Yes.
It is. Michelle, you did attend CPE. Have we spoken on the program since you were there?
No, when I got back, I was in crazy frenzy trying to get ready to go for vacation. So I've had Barbie Jenkins or Barbie Porter. She and her husband pinch hit for me that night, and then Shannon last week. So no, but I enjoyed CPE this year. I was able to sign for 3 different publishers. Dell, Didway, and we signed our IU book at the Barnes & Noble. It was so fun. We even had IU fans from the St. Louis area come out and join us. So that was a blast. I didn't know that anybody would show up. I mean, I thought, signing an IU book in Missouri, that's not exactly, not ideal, right? So,
Yep.
but we had IU fans, and we had just such a great time. And then I signed at the actual Christian Pride Expo. I signed the Puppy Dog Devotions, which I did with Wendy Hyde at Linear, even though she wasn't there. She couldn't come, but I was able to sign that for Iron Stream. And then the one that you've got the picture of up there, was the first time I ever held this one in my hands was at Christian Pride Expo. I'm so excited about this little Dachshund Through the Snow Christmas book. And I got to sign that at the personality party and then again at the booth for Victoria Juerstock's in-game press. And it was just the best time. I could not believe how many people came in and got my line and said, oh my gosh, we have Dachshunds, or we have a Chiweenie, or we have a Dorkson. I'm like, what is that? Or a Dorky? It was a Dachshund Yorkie combined. There was all kinds of people with some sort of a wiener dog in their family. And so they couldn't wait to get their hands on this book. It was great.
My German Shepherd could eat your dachshund without even chewing. Just just.
Oh, no doubt. It just a snack. Yeah.
But
like a
dogs are
Scooby
unaware of
snack.
that.
That's right.
My wife has a little yapper too. A little, and that little yapper
Oh, yeah.
will show her teeth to that 100-pound German Shepherd. Like, are you kidding me?
Yes.
Shouldn't.
Well, our grand dog is yeah, same thing. It's a German Shepherd, and Molly acts like she could eat him, and
Yeah.
he just kind of looks at her like, "Are you talking to me?" Yeah.
I wonder if we Christians could take a lesson from that. Because we cower so easily. That the world seems so big and so bad and so fierce. But what if we had the outlook of the dachshund? I don't care. I'm gonna snarl at you. I'll show you my teeth. You don't intimidate me.
That's one of the teachings in here. Did you
Really?
read this book, Coach? It's in here.
No.
The Dachshund. Yeah, the Dachshund. I got to write that one, and it's all about Dachshunds are fierce hunters, and they're bold and fierce. They have no fear. That they were bred to go down into badger holes. Like they just know no fear, which is both a blessing and a curse for them because they get in lots of trouble because they're not afraid of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered about these little short-legged, dogs that are hunter types. The beagle is one. A lot of people have beagles in this area as hunting dogs. And I thought to myself, how can a dog with such short legs? There's a reason that short-legged dogs are good hunter dogs. Is that puts their nose where? To the ground. The longer-legged dogs
That's right.
have a harder time. And if you don't think a beagle can run, well, let one chase you, and you'll find out they and their ears, their big old ears,
Yeah.
just, flop. Their ears are always dirty on the ends from dragging the ground. It's
Yes.
terrible.
The bassets are really notorious for that. Yeah,
Okay,
that's true.
all right. So you're
Well, I was
back.
going to say, I'm a little bit on a delay, so is that I can see that we're on a delay a little bit with
Yeah,
my internet. I don't know what's going on.
I've kind of noticed that too. I'm going to do something here to help a little bit on your end. That
Okay.
may reduce it somewhat. Okay, but there's always going to be some delay. But yeah, I can always tell when you ask a question and the person just. You ever watch that on TV when they're doing these satellite feeds? And they also, if you'll
Yeah.
notice in the news, they'll always signal that they're done talking. That back to you. So they have this.
Right. Or they'll
I'll,
give the head nod. Yeah.
yeah, I'll think of it in a moment. Simplex, or simplex communications, where you only communicate in one direction at any given time. But be that as it may, you're back in the saddle now. You've been to Florida. You've been to CPE. You've celebrated your anniversary. Back to
Yes.
real life yet, Michelle? What's
Oh
next?
my, so much of real life, you have no idea. So Bethany Jett, my business owner, best bud, all that, co-author, we are on deadline for a Bible study. And I know Stephanie has a Bible study. We've actually used hers as one of our comp titles. We think she's an amazing writer. But our Bible study is called All in Faith, and it's a takeoff on our book Platinum Faith,
Right.
which will be re-released next summer with the new title All in Faith and some new content. And then we have the companion Bible study to go with it. It's coming out with In-Game Press next summer. So we're on deadline for that right now. And we've been working on it for like on and off all summer. Bible study is not something you can just rush through. Not that you ever rush through your books, but there are some things that are easier to write than a Bible study. This is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And so much, I love the research, so much research. And I've got so many concordances. I mean, this desk is ridiculous. I have so many study guides on here because we're finishing up. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was I've been studying Sarah. That was one of my chapters. We've taken the women of the Bible and we've compared them to, we've talked about their lives and then the attributes that are in Platinum Faith. We've chosen 3 of the attributes to go with each of the women. And then it's just really been an interesting study. But Sarah was one of the gals that I was able to do. And having celebrated my 30-year anniversary with Jeff and, just honoring him and being excited to be with him and write him sweet cards and all that stuff this week. As I studied Sarah, I was really inspired by her. I think we mostly focus on Abraham in the story. Right. He's the one that heard from God. He gets the vision. And we remember that she laughs when they say you're going to have a baby. And she's like, yeah, right.
Right.
I mean, those are the things we think about her, but there's so much more to her story. And as I studied her, I had I think she gets like Supportive Wife of the Year award. I mean, from the very beginning, when they really are, she is a half sister to Abraham. I mean, that wasn't a total lie when he said, this is my sister. She really was a half sister. They had the same dad, but different moms. But as he gets the word from God, I'm going to take you to the place I will show you. And so there's no questions asked. If she said, what do you mean we're moving? That was never in the scriptures. I just figured there was a conversation where she said, all right, husband of mine, let's just do this. I believe you heard from God. And they gathered their belongings and their relatives and their livestock and they head towards Canaan, right? So they're on the way. And then when they get there, there's a famine. So, I mean, I'm just trying to put myself in Sarah's shoes. I'm like, okay, did you hear from God? Did he let you know there was a famine there? Because not a great plan there, Abraham. Like, I would have been probably a little perturbed. I mean, just in thinking, but that if she was, that was never in the scriptures. It was always just her doing what she did, which was be a supportive wife and walk out in her destiny. But so it really impressed me about her. And then, they get there and they have to go to Egypt because there's no food there. So they go to Egypt and he says, look, you're beautiful. There's going to be people who are going to want to be with you, probably the Pharaoh himself, and they'll kill me. That's what's going to happen. That's what they did. They would just kill people if they wanted their wives. So he said, we're foreigners in this land. We have no shot here. just tell him that you're my sister. And that's exactly what happened. The Pharaoh's men went to him and said, there's this, gorgeous girl that's in town. You're going to want her. He summoned her. She said that she was Abraham's sister. The Pharaoh gives Abraham all these gifts, right? And blesses him as the brother. And then all these curses and plagues come upon his household because God didn't want that to happen. So then he's like, "Why?" He's mad. The Pharaoh's mad. And it's a great story, right? And he says, "Why did you do this to me?" And he says, "You guys have to leave Egypt." So he gets them out. And just like, you think that, and that was like chapter 12. In chapter 20, he does it again to her with a king. It's like, he says, "We're going to lie to the king again and say that you're my sister." I'm just saying, she had to be a very patient wife, because I would have been pretty perturbed about that as well if my husband's like telling me to lie, but she saw it as a way to protect him, and she was so supportive of him, and she loved him, and she honored him throughout all of this. And I just think that's a pretty great example. As we were celebrating 30 years, I thought, I think I need to be more like Sarah. Like, that's so great that she stood by her man, kind of a thing, throughout the good, bad, and the ugly. There's a verse that in 1 Corinthians 13, which is the love chapter, the verse that says, love is patient, love is kind, doesn't envy, doesn't boast, isn't proud, isn't rude, isn't self-seeking. But if you look in this one, I forget which translation it is now, it might be the Passion. It says that love believes the best. Love believes the best of those. And so I think we have to remember is to believe the best of our loved ones, especially our spouses. And I think that's what she did. I think she just believed the best of Abraham, even when he was saying, "Hey, just tell them that you're my sister," or all the things that he did. I think she just believed the best in him because she believed that he heard from God, and she believed and trusted in the plan that God had for not just Abraham, but for her life. And I really have learned a lot from studying these women, but especially Sarah. I think I relate to her a lot. So I love Sarah. But that was something that was on my heart tonight as I was studying, kind of going through some of the notes and checking out on all the resources and everything, all the references. I thought about that as we celebrated our anniversary yesterday, that there's always room for improvement. We've had a wonderful marriage, but you want to keep getting better and keep being more of a blessing to your spouse. Don't just status quo it.
Gosh, there's much I could say, and I'm glad to hear that you and Bethany are bringing some of this to the spotlight, to the foreground in our contemporary culture. Because in my observation, what has happened is the struggle's always there, but I think it was easier in the past for women to be more supportive and defer in submission and all those things, because he was the breadwinner and she was not. Without him, she didn't eat. Okay, but the world's different today. Women are now in their own professions, earning their own money. And it has brought about on the one hand, there's the healthy independence, and the Proverbs 31 woman was a good entrepreneur, a good business person. So God is not against that. Mm-hmm. But when you get so good that you think you no longer need or should honor your husband, well, you've departed from the biblical model. And in our world today, it's very easy for women to man-hate because they don't need men in their careers as much as in the past. So do you take those on, or do you just stick with Sarah?
No, we have Ruth, and we have Deborah, we have Hannah, we have Rahab, I'm trying to think, we have 12 different women, and Esther, and we talk about the Proverbs 31 woman. But exactly what you said about a lot of women don't embrace this message. Younger women, I've found. In fact, I actually lost a job. It was a freelance writing gig. I won't name the organization, but if I said it, you'd know it's a big one, because my editor she was a single gal. She was younger than me. And I wrote a blog, which I'm still proud of because I still mean it. I believe God gave it to me. It was when Abby was getting married, our oldest daughter, and Jeff and I knew that we'd have to do the parents' dance, right? Mm-hmm. And, we grew up in the 80s where you just kind of did this and just rocked back and forth. We didn't really know how to dance. I mean, I know how to dance, but not like dance in front of people. And so we decided that we would take ballroom dancing. Plus, it would be a couple of hours each week that we would be just with each other, in each other's arms. It would just be a deliberate time to spend time together. So we did that at the studio here called Cats. And it's funny because I've always been a dancer. In fact, from the time I was a little girl, I was in tap and ballet and jazz and all of that. Jeff can't hardly find the rhythm on anything. He just he's the one that claps off beat.
Yeah.
Like he has so many wonderful talents. That would be my husband. Like he is so good at so many things, but that dancing is not one of them. But we still had a really good time, and we could learn. But we weren't like obviously the best couple in the class by a long shot. But because of that, because he can't hear the beat, and I feel the beat, I would try to lead, not meaning to lead, but I kept leading because I knew he couldn't hear it. So I'm thinking I'm helping, but it's out of order because the man is supposed to lead. So I'm leading. And finally, our instructor, Kathy, she's like, you have to let him lead. You have to. And so she made us change partners so that I would let somebody lead and stop trying to lead. And it was a big joke. We all got tickled over it. And when I got back with Jeff, then we switched partners back and I did it again. And he picked me up and goes, woman, let me lead. We just died laughing. But I wrote a blog about that, about how whether you're on the dance floor or in life, you have to let the man take the lead. Not that you are less than. That is not what that scripture is about. He's supposed to love us as Christ loves the church, right? That's what it says. If you do it God's way, you have the perfect unity. It is the perfect dance. It's the kind you don't want to end. And that's what I learned from 30 years of marriage. That's what I learned from that dance class. But that blog made this gal so upset with me. The email I got, I've never really got an email that mean before. And she didn't want to hear from me ever again as far as my blogs. And that's okay. God opened up many other doors, but it's just not everybody's going to agree with this. So I expect there to be some comments, but I don't really care because I know that this is what the word says. I'm not telling anybody to stay in an abusive relationship. I'm not saying that you have to be a doormat. That is not the design that God had. God had a partnership. You were the helpmates, but when you let him lead and you are the helpmate and he loves you as Christ loves the church, it's a beautiful union. It's not, nobody feels cheated or like they're being taken advantage of. You just want to be with each other. You want to do good to each other. You want to be that person. I want to be the supporter and he wants to be the provider. I mean, it works out wonderfully. It's not a competition. It's a partnership. And I just think that it's gotten a bad rap and I don't understand why. But I will say, not every year of marriage is good. Not every day of marriage is good, but there's a part of each day that's good. I mean, I'm not butterflies and sunshine and bluebirds on my shoulder. We've had some challenges too, but we chose to be married. We chose to stay in love and we continue to choose that every day because we made that commitment before God and to God. And we're going to make it every day. And I'm so thankful for my husband, but I think that I'm thankful that has taught me that because I'd say when I was younger, I was a handful. I'm sure there was a lot of times Jeff was like, just Lord help me because, I was the youngest in our family and I was babied and I was spoiled and I came into a little entitled and, what are you going to do for me kind of a thing. And so it's so much better God's way.
Yep. And when you go fishing, Jeff backs the trailer, okay, because he leads and you don't have a clue. If you backed it would be a train wreck in a heartbeat. I don't
for sure.
I don't seek controversy in this topic, but too often men have selected their proof text, that God said for you to blah, 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 when they don't read the rest of it, as you pointed out, as Christ loved the church. In other words, die while they spit upon him. That's love, okay? But the proof text that struck me goes back to Genesis. Okay, Adam got his name from God. God named Adam. When Eve came along, Adam named Eve. God gave a command to Adam to name the animals. He put the animal kingdom under the authority of mankind. That's why they don't eat us, we eat them. And so it's pretty clear to me, I can take the hint that the giving, when we get a pet, who names the pet? Well, we do. Who names the children? The parents. The giving of a name implies authority over. Okay? When to this day, as bad as the world's gotten, your last name is what? Adams. You take the name of the husband.
That's right.
He gives you name. Guess this is all symbolic of the scriptural mandate, the mandate from God. Now, when Adam and Eve sinned, okay, they went hiding in the woods. They knew God was coming, so they were going to go hide in the woods, as if. Who did God call for? Who did God call? Did he say, Adam and Eve? No, he did not. Adam.
No.
Come here. We need to talk. No. Because Adam is the spiritual. And it's funny that we accept the notion of leadership in other ways. We all know that there's a quarterback in the huddle. The quarterback calls the play. He's the leader. That doesn't mean the quarterback has the right to subject players to indignities. It's not an indignity to run the play that's called by the quarterback. It's called trying to win.
Right.
We accept leadership in so many
teamwork.
other ways.
Yeah, there's an order.
Yeah, we accept it, and there's hierarchies, multiple
God's
hierarchies.
a God of order. I mean, that's it.
Right, and yet this particular hierarchy that God ordained, comes under attack in today's world as females become more competitive in the marketplace. Well, folks, you can disagree if you want, but you'll need to argue that with God, not with me. I'm just agreeing with God. It's not, and nothing in the Bible, nothing in the Bible subjugates women. Christ did much to elevate women in his life, in his teachings, and in his ministry. So I don't see the problem, but there are those in our world. So Michelle, I'm glad that you and Bethany are taking this on. You mentioned the concordances. My favorite is the Strong's
oh my goodness,
Exhaustive Concordance. Are you familiar with that one?
Yeah.
I actually have the hardback.
I can hardly lift it. Yeah,
I know it. Yeah.
It's a good thing we've been training all these days, or I couldn't lift that bad boy. I know, it's crazy.
Folks, I know that everything's online nowadays, but I depend on the Strong, and it's different from most concordances. For those who have not aware of it, the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, every word in the Bible is documented, and wherever that word is found, that word will list every scripture that uses. And I have found this so illuminating. Yes. So illuminating, because sometimes
it is.
God's word is perfect in every way, but language is not. And it really helps to understand, when Paul says run the race. What do you mean race? He talks about the gymnasium. Paul was, I think, quite an athlete, if you ask me. Words oftentimes have far richer meaning. I'll give you the best example. There's in the Lord's Prayer, Jesus taught us to pray the following, among other things. Lord, lead us not into temptation. In the book of James, it specifically says that the Lord will not lead you into temptation. So why then would we pray for something that God has already, what? Well, the word temptation today means one and only one thing: evil solicitation. At the time those words were written, temptation meant tested, trial, put to the test. Something that's been tested, you have more confidence in than something that is untested. So there's something I could go on. Anyway,
that's right.
Well, I've used up all the time.
Oh, I love it. We're getting lost in the research.
I don't know what it's like to write anything. I'm not a writer, but I appreciate you taking on the research to cover it, because the purpose isn't just to meet a deadline. The purpose isn't just to produce a book that you can sell. No. The purpose is to proclaim the truth and to dig. You're not going to find any gold without digging, okay? The gold doesn't just leap out of the ground at you, okay? But the treasures are in
Or in our case, the platinum, because it's...
The platinum.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Even with foods, the food, you got to peel you got to husk the corn, okay? You can't just... Nothing is just that.
Now, Stephanie said no corn, so don't be husking corn.
Well, yeah, that's the starch, isn't it?
Yes.
You have to peel the orange.
I know, I
okay?
listen very well.
We grow a few oranges
There
here
you go.
in the Sunshine State.
It's a fruit. I don't know.
The fruit, yeah, fruits are loaded with sugar, by the way, folks. But listen, if you want some
Yes.
orange juice, eat an orange. If you want some, whatever kind of juice you want, don't buy the juice. That's nothing but sugar water. Eat the fruit that the juice was squeezed out of, and get what. Here's
That's right. That's
easy
good
rule
advice.
with
That's
eating.
right.
Easy rule. Here you go. Look at what you're about to eat. Just look at it. And ask yourself the following question. Does this look like God made it? Or does it look like man made it? Chances are good if it looks like God made it, like almonds. You see almonds? Yeah, it looks like the way God made them. But I actually use this
Right.
oat milk. Have you ever heard of it? Oat milk creamer for your coffee. It's called Oat Yeah.
Yeah, I use almond milk, but
Okay,
yeah.
well, I used to, but Oat Yeah is the brand. It's called Oat Yeah. And that stuff's good. And it's not a dairy product. It has about the same calories, but without all the carbohydrates, without all the fat. So every cup of coffee, which reminds me, I'm out of coffee,
Yes.
tastes like you're eating an oatmeal cookie with it. It is so good. It is.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. This was not a
I'm not a
compensated.
coffee drinker, but that sounds good.
This is not a compensated endorsement, folks. For YouTube, I know you're listening. No, I was not compensated to say that. So, all right. Well, Michelle, I hope that we get to see you next week and give our best to Bethany as the two of you work together on your new. And the new title is, I've already forgotten.
All in faith.
All in, not all in faith.
It's all in faith. Yeah.
All in.
Like all hyphen in, like
Yeah,
all in.
I'm all
We're
in.
all in.
I'm all in.
Faith. Yeah.
Okay, all in faith.
That's
Michelle,
it. That's
it's
what it
always
is.
always a pleasure to have you share with us. Send me the book. Send me some more book covers because I've used the same one now a couple times in a week in a row. So send me some
Okay,
new ones.
I'll do
If you've got any books, I don't know. But thank you for sharing, Michelle. It's so
I'll
great
see
to
if I
have
can
you.
find something.
There you go.
Thanks for having me.
All right, there you have the view high atop the Eagle's Nest broadcast facilities here at pjnet.tv. What a wonderful night we have had together, and we will do this again tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's a little special, by the way. Got some stuff going on tomorrow night. You might want to go to pjnet.tv. I know you know that J.D. Winterger's coming, but he's coming with some help. Okay, he is coming with help. Let me just take a look right now if I can at the schedule, because I did this earlier and didn't write it down. But tomorrow night we will have Sherry Lynn Bisbano at 9 p.m., followed by a special edition of J.D. Winninger, and that will be a surprise. We'll just leave it at that. Folks, time for me to head out. Before I do, I challenge you to ask yourself 2 questions, as always. What is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And when was it? The challenge is not accepting either answer as good enough.